All right, our next speaker. How many remember Gary Matthews as a player? Does anybody remember what he would do on his way to first base when he got a hit? Flip his helmet, all right? He'd flip his helmet off. I asked Sarge at lunch today if he's going to flip his helmet off, and he said, nope, it's only if I'm getting a hit or a potential hit. So I tried. I tried to get a helmet flip for us tonight, but he said he's not going to do it. Our second speaker, I'm still holding out hope. Our second speaker played over 2,000 games in a 16-year Major League career. Drafted by San Francisco in the first round in 1968, he played for the Giants, Braves, Phillies, Cubs, and Mariners. The 1973 National League Rookie of the Year and 1979 All-Star, he hit .281 in his career with 234 homers and 978 runs batted in. Acquired by the Phillies from Atlanta for Bob Walk in spring training of 1981, he would be the most valuable player of the 1983 National League Championship Series against L.A., batting .429 in the series with 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in. That was in 4 games, remember correctly, right? Yep. 4 games he did all of that. He was traded to the Cubs in March of 1984, and that season led the National League in walks and on-base percentage and finished 5th in MVP balloting. In 19 career playoff games, he hit .323 with 7 home runs and 15 runs batted in. His son of the same name would play nearly 1,300 games in the big leagues. He would spend several years coaching in both the minor and major leagues, and then spent 7 years as a color analyst for Phillies telecasts, and now serves as a club ambassador for the team. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Hot Stovers, the Sarge, Gary Matthews.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to sit here from waking up on them damn double plays when I was playing.
You want to take the mic out?
But anyway, I like to say with my son that I got all the hits and he's got all the money. So I don't know how that works out, but he's a really great individual. Before I start, I want to just show a little homage to Bob Uecker. What a great friend he was to me. The thing that you see him do and the way he acts that way all the time. There's just no filter. Just one story where playing in Cincinnati, and I have a friend there, Rick Aberson, and been knowing him for about 12 years, him and his wife. So Uke always likes to play golf when we go into different cities. So I set it up. We're going to play at 10 o'clock. Rick is coming to pick us up. And I told Uke before Rick got there, I said, listen, don't be playing a lot of jokes, saying a lot of stuff. I mean, it's an all-Jewish club. I said, really, just mind your manners. So he's sitting in the back. So it's about a 45-minute drive. We get to the club. I get out. Rick gets out. Uke gets out, and he has his Milwaukee hat on, but he cut the brim like a yarmulke. I said, Uke, I said, what are you doing? He said, you don't have to tell me how to act. He said, I've been around presidents and queens and so on. I said, I told you this guy was my best friend. So sure enough, too, Rick is a guy, I mean, he had his ophthalmologist, 3rd generation. So I'm going to cut to the chase on it. And after we were through playing, we go to Rick's place, right? And Rick, as usual, he's bragging about this or that. Uke tells him, I got friends that have barns that are bigger house than you have right here. And again, I'm looking at Uke. I said, man, what is going on? What's going on with you? He says, well, you got to put people in their place. I said, well, what did he do? He only took care of our golf and so on. Uke says, oh, I could have taken care of the golf. He says, don't worry about it. Rick and him will be friends, and they have been friends to this day. Rick called me today and was in tears and really, really upset me because of Uke. And you judge friends on not so much talking to them every day. Uke's the type of guy that if you haven't spoken with him in a month or so, it's just like you've been talking with him. Playing golf with him on another course. And he picks up a club, puts it in his bag. And we were going along, and some Asian fellas came up and said, you guys see a club on the green? So I'm sitting next to Uke, he's driving, so I don't say anything, and I'm looking over here at Uke, and we go on. Uke says, no, we didn't find a club. So I said, we drive off. Uke, I said, didn't you pick that club up? He said, yeah, I picked it up. I said, well, why didn't you give the guy back his club? He said, well, I threw it in the woods. I said, you threw it in the woods? I said, why did you do that? He says, well, you ever hear of Pearl Harbor? I said, no, come on. These are the type of things that he would do and say repeatedly. But Tom McCarthy, and I know you guys know of him, he asked me, he says, why don't you get back at him? I said, get back at him? I've done nothing to him, and look what he's done to me. He has played tricks on me that, I mean, I can't even tell some of the things that he's actually done. But nevertheless, losing a lot of friends this year for me, Ricky Henderson and Pete Rose. I don't know about you, but when you get older, for me, you start to feel a little eerie when your friends and so on are passing, and then you start to appreciate more of your living, getting up maybe a little bit earlier, paying a little more attention to the grandkids. I'll get into those boys here in a second as well. But I have no sad story. I grew up in San Fernando Valley. Mom raised 3 boys going back to Alabama. One of the reasons I don't allow any of my kids to have recap tires is because my dad was killed when I was 3. Didn't know him at all, and my mother raised us, and she did a pretty good job, I think. I know in playing in baseball, she said she could always tell me walking down the street if we had won or lost, because usually if we lost, I'm dragging all the equipment, and if we had won, I'm kind of running home. My mom always explained to me that, oh, you're not the best player, you're the captain, even though at times I thought I was. But looking back on it, I kind of see what she means. I mean, you know, Veronica talked about a leader and so on. Yeah, in baseball in particularly, when you're playing, you lead by, you know, example, or you lead by the things that you do. When I played here in Philadelphia with Pete Rose and Tony Perez, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, a lot of people don't realize John Denny was the best pitcher that year, winning the Cy Young Award. And when Steve pitched, we called it Win Day. He never made any excuses. He would protect Mike Schmidt and I to a fault, meaning if somebody knocked us down or hit us, he would hit 2 guys. And there were times I go and I say, hey, you know, Steve, we'll get him next time. He said, oh, no. He said, I'm sending the message tonight. and he would do it, but then he could strike out 4 or 5 guys. I did in high school, I did a commercial for Hunts, and I got residuals on it until I graduated. That's why I told you, I don't have a sad story, not here. So I got residuals on it, #1 draft choice for the Giants. I was in the major leagues in 3 years. I got sent down 1 year for asking Charlie Fox, why didn't you let me steal that base? He said I didn't get paid to ask questions up here, and I was sent down. Spent the whole year in Phoenix and Arizona, and literally killed them in that league. Made all-star in every league in the minor leagues. And by the way, some of you guys are old enough to know Charlie Fox, who said at the time when I was signed that, I don't know who signed this guy, he'll never make it out of A-ball. Well, the one thing I could do, and for you baseball players, remember out there, use it as a motivator when someone says you can't do this or you can't do that. But Hank Sauer took me under his wing, which was our hitting coach, and he told me the story, what Charlie had said. But Hank told me that he said, all you have to do is hit. Well, hell, I've been hitting all my life. That was no big deal. So I ran through the minor leagues. Buck asked me about playing in Amarillo, Texas. It'll make you hit there because you don't want to go back there twice. They'll tell you all you're smelling out there is money, but it smells like something else to me. But end up having 2 guys hit 300 that particular year. Enos Cabell and, oh God, the second baseman that played for the Dodgers, I forget his name. But those were the 2 guys. No, it wasn't Lopes. He was, no, it was before Steve. Black guy, kind of thin, good player. Yeah, that's it. I'll be doggone. I told you we had some old fellas in here, didn't I? But yeah, those 2 hit 300. I led the league in everything else. One of the stats that they don't talk about to this day, and I guarantee you any pitcher loves it, is game-winning hits. Mike Smith and I, we'd average somewhere between 19 to 22 apiece. Now, heck, if somebody else is doing that, we were winning. Our motto was, not going to win. Don't look for me to make the last out. And we meant that. You know, when you're playing with different players and growing up in the San Francisco Giants organization, you learn values. And you know that the name of the game and the way you spell fun when you're in the major leagues, W-I-N. When you're winning, everybody feels good. Management, you know, everybody talking to each other. Now, when you lose, it's just the opposite, because when you see some of the presidents, vice presidents, you might want to cross the street and go the other way. Don't want to make eye contact when things are going bad. The game's been great. Game's been great for me. And I told Buck he's responsible for my son being a millionaire twice and over. And I told him that today, and he thought about it for a while, and he said, you know, I did have something to do with that. And he did, because he challenged him. He was the 4th outfielder, and Junior would call me and say, you know, Dad, I said, no excuses. Be ready when you're called on. And I think that year he ended up making the All-Star team, and he ended up getting a hit. I was 0 for 2, so that's the only bragging rights he has, a hit in the All-Star, and of course, the money and so on that he's made. All of that is good, but being grounded is so much better. Being respected. And again, I wasn't the best player or Hall of Famer, but I hit third in the lineup every day of my life. And again, you don't count on me to make the last out. That ain't happening. Hitting behind Mike Schmidt, best thing ever happened to me in my life, I can tell you that. Literally was a piece of cake. I mean, I look fastball every pitch. And when they hear him slinging that weight in the back, and I'm staring dead at him, you got nowhere to go. And you got to be able to look. Somebody's going to intimidate, okay? Usually I feel I'm the intimidator, but I got to tell you, against that Nolan Ryan and J.R. Richard, I think it might have been a tie, okay? They were awful to hit against. Very great, great competitors. You know, again, my life in being with baseball and, you know, growing up with a strong mom has done wonders again for me. I mean, I wake up sometimes and, you know, pinch myself and I go like, man, this is just crazy. And I think what really, personally for me as a granddad, that makes you even feel better is when your grandkids, they come up and they're doing their thing. And they don't even think I played at all. They don't understand when I'm here in Philly and signing autographs. They look at me like, well, you know, who is he? My youngest grandson, Davis, 11 years old, I want to say spent 4 months there as Simba in The Lion King. Don't know how he got it. Wasn't on my side of the family because all we have is bad actors, to tell you the truth. But when you see things like that with your grandkids, you're overwhelmed. Plus, they too can go back home a little later on that evening, back to their own parents, which I like that part of it there for sure. I really do. You know, under pressure, because Steve said it, Veronica didn't have notes, but I had to bring some out because a lot of times I don't always remember some of the things that I want to make sure. Oh, this is what I really wanted to make sure about. Showing homage to Kurt Flood, also Andy Messersmith. The reason why we have free agency to this day. Proud to say that I was part of the 17 guys that actually played it out. And if there's ever such thing as an offer you can't refuse, Ted Turner did that to me. I don't know what he did for a lot of other people, but I can tell you this. He took care of me and my family in a huge, huge way. Besides giving my brother a job with TV and him winning some Emmys. That's unbelievable, which my brother compares that to playing baseball, so you know where, you know, he's coming from. But the sacrifice that those two guys gave, the players today don't really understand that, and that's okay. You know, I'm not one of those people that are jealous. I'm glad I played the time that I did. Again, I've had so many of the Black Negro League players said, hey, man, you could have played here easily. And I went like, thank you, but I'm sure glad I wasn't playing back in those days. It was a rough, rough time, but they were very, very proud individuals. One of the reasons I do wear my hats to this day is because of them. Very proud shine shoes, never complain, and they could play. I can't imagine. I can't imagine coming all the way from Africa and then being able to learn a game of baseball, which is the toughest thing, and then be one of the better players. Personally, for me, when I played, I don't care if you're black, white, green, or whatever, you got to be able to do the job, period. I'm going to carry some weight, maybe more weight than I should, but everybody gets a chance when you go to that plate, and you just can't be walking back, every single time. But the one story I'd like to say really about Ted Williams, and people, I thought I was a good hitter. I hit 300 3 or 4 times in the major leagues. I saw the ball hit the bat. Tony Gwynn, Ted Williams saw the ball hit the bat every time. Can you imagine that? How can that possibly be? Well, now I know why I hit 281 and they were hitting 385. They saw the ball all the time, and I thought I had damn good ears, or eyes rather. Tease my kids all the time that they didn't eat their carrots. That's why they're wearing glasses to this day, even though I feel I'm lucky in that aspect there, not to have done that. But, it's been a great ride. Broadcasting, God, I love that, broadcasting with the Phillies. They told me I was getting a little too popular. I don't know what that meant. But the fact is, I told some gentlemen out here today, you don't burn bridges that you might have to go back over. I'm an ambassador today, and I don't know what the hell an ambassador does, but, oh yeah, kissing babies and wave. I'm good at that, let me tell you that right now. But anyway, I got to just say this, the banquet was just phenomenal. I see you started it in, what, Lou, 1962, 63? A lot of my teammates were on there and repeated. So I'm hoping you guys can, and especially you, Rose, back there, talk to Lou and maybe invite me back again. And let me tell you, I'm going to try and do my part, because I'm going to give you 4 tickets and then be able to have lunch, and you can come down to the stadium or dinner if you can stay out late. And I'm going to try and do my part and get some things here going, get some bats maybe signed, even though it's like pulling teeth from trying to get people to sign stuff these days. And I always got to remind them, Bryce Harper and the guys, hey, I don't want it. It's for other people. It's for charity. And then I actually bring them a letter so they can see, because it's like pulling teeth trying to get them to sign something. So you got to get them when you're young. That's why you see a lot of collectors out there at AA, AAA getting these guys to sign stuff early on. I hope the collectors realize that it's for the kids too, by the way, which you're taking away from them. But anyway, man, I could go on and on if I talk too much, or what's going on now? He's giving me a look like, and he's already said, hey, man, don't be up there too long or whatever. So, but I've had a great time with Lou. He actually picked me up at the airport, and you know how proud he is. So we're on our way back, and I'm looking, because I played here, and I'm going like, well, shouldn't he be going this way? Well, when you're in the passenger, I mean, you already know you can't be doing a lot of talking, right? Sure enough, he went the wrong way. Oh, yeah. We didn't get lost. I'm just to make your own turn. And he thought I wasn't going to say anything. Okay? Oh, I could hardly wait. But got a good guy working for you here. He works hard and continues to really talk about it. You could tell he loves it, and that's what it takes. So Thank you for picking me up. Don't need you to take me back. And good. I appreciate you having me here, but since 1963, I think you owe me a few more days to come back here, okay? Especially since some of my teammates are on there, and I'm looking at them, I'm going like, damn, this guy don't talk. This guy don't talk right here. But when it comes to, and you know you're right around the corner when it comes to these banquets. So again, I'm just delighted to be here. I'm delighted really to be still a part of baseball. And man, I got to tell you, it goes so quick. You just blink your eye, it just goes so quick. And that's why, and I'm glad May said, play as hard as you can every day, because it's going to go quicker than you think. And boy, was he sure right. Just a blessing playing the Giants organization. I said it to some people earlier that why in God's green earth are there no scouts in the Hall of Fame? Starts right there in the embryo stages. They get no credit. I mean, what's going on with that? They the ones that are predicting who's going to be this or that. And I know my scout, George Genovese, he signed some bad actors. Oh, my. Oh, well, I think I've taken up enough time. I was going to ask Buck, too, because he managed. I want to ask him before he even starts. I mean, this was ingenious. Sorry. The year that Barry Bonds had, and I played with his dad, by the way, I thought his dad was just a great player. He had nothing on Barry. But Bucks won in the game in the ninth inning. 2 outs. Bases loaded, down by 2. He looks at Barry and says, hey, put him on. I got nothing for you. Again, he's winning by 2 runs. I don't know if it was the luck of the Irish or not, because Kent hit a bullet right to the second baseman. But I wanted to know, as a manager, like, what goes through your head when a Barry Bonds is up or a Ted Williams is coming up and you're looking at your pitcher and you know in your heart you're saying, he's got no chance. He's just got no chance. But I've been wanting to ask Buck that for like years, how he had the nerve to even do that. Because you know the sports writers, frustrated athletes they are going to be asking questions. How could you possibly do that? So I know he's going to talk, and being with the Yankees, you can't help but have stories with all those clowns up there. But great organization. I almost played with the Yankees when Reggie Jackson went there. They took Gullett instead of me, but it worked out okay because I was with Ted Turner, and I'm telling you, there are not too many people like this individual, for sure. But anyway, thanks for listening to me. I really appreciate you guys having me here. I wish and hope I'll talk to Rose to get back here next time. You have nothing to do with this. But thank you so much. Really appreciate it.